Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. I post new tutorials every Thursday, primarily on tumblers, but I do some other things too, especially this time of year when it's Halloween and I'm doing a lot of DIYs.
Hello.
And this is Ari, my sidekick, if you haven't seen her before.
Hello. If you seen the last video, the ending of the last video, I made a keychain, but you didn't see the ending when I colored it. It looks like this.
A keychain or a bracelet?
A bracelet.
A bracelet, okay.
I'm making another one for Mom.
All right, so in this tutorial, I am making a tumbler. And so I went to the Dollar Tree, which I go and I kind of walk around there and see if, I get any ideas to do things. And I picked up this fabric, and this is going to be a spoiler. So this is what's left of the fabric. And so my intention was to do a V-split fabric tumbler tutorial for you. And then I was like, well, you know what else can I do? Like, how far can I stretch this one piece of Dollar Tree swatch of fabric? And so I stretched it pretty far. So if you're interested to see all the things that I made with this fabric, stick around and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm gonna start by showing you the size of this fabric. So it's all rolled up nice and neat, and I'm gonna unfold it, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty big piece, right? And peel off the sticker, and then I realize, wait, there's more. Wow, look at all that for $1.25. That's pretty impressive. So I am going to now measure my cup. I am using a 20-ounce Skinny Straight by Maker Flow, and I am measuring it. So these cups are a little over 8 inches wide by a little over 9 inches in diameter. And so I measure this out on my fabric, and I go ahead and cut a piece. And now I'm going to apply my fabric using Mod Podge. That's how I choose to do it. I think there are other methods. Somebody used like some Crystal or something before. So I'm using Mod Podge, and I'm gonna put like a little Mod Podge on there and get it, placed, and then I'm just gonna go around and do it in sections rather than Mod Podge the entire cup at once, because Mod Podge does dry pretty quick when you are doing it, like when you're doing a big space and you're doing a thin layer. So, and then once I get this all lined up and, laid down, I'm going to, pull on it a little bit, make sure it is nice and taut. Also, if some of the Mod Podge comes through the fabric, that is totally okay. You actually kind of want that because you're going to go ahead after this dries and put Mod Podge over top of it. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm just going to make sure that I get this over. And, if you want, you can trim your seam now, like with a pair of scissors, or you can wait and leave a little flap up, wait until your Mod Podge dries. I was okay with the seam, so I didn't do anything. I didn't mess with it. But you can if you want like a super straight seam. But in this, I am going to be covering that seam with the V, so I'm not really concerned about how straight it is. So after I let it dry, I go ahead and I use my scissors and use the cup as a guide to trim the rest of my fabric. And so this doesn't have to be the most neat job either, because around the top, when you put your epoxy on, you're gonna sand and you're gonna bring down that fabric just a hair to show the top of the rim so that you get a nice good epoxy seal. So I trim around the bottom as well, and I try to be like neat. I'm not real concerned about super perfect, but that's just me. So because I'm going to eventually spray paint that bottom black. All right, so now I'm going to Mod Podge that seam really well. Actually, I already Mod Podged the seam. Sorry. This is where I'm going to apply. I'm so scatterbrained this morning. This is where I'm going to coat the entire cup with Mod Podge. And so I'm going to do this 2 times. Some people do it 3. I found that 3 was not necessary, but it's completely up to you. If you feel like after 2 coats you haven't gotten the fabric sealed to the cup properly, or you feel like you have made have missed some spots, you can go ahead with third coat. But I've done them with 3 coats, and I thought that after the second coat, it was fine and I didn't need to do it. So just make sure you go up and down. I go up and down and side to side. And then this way I can ensure that I'm really getting that Mod Podge in every like little nook and cranny of the fabric, because fabric is porous, so you want to make sure it's in there and basically down to the cup. I let this Mod Podge dry 1 hour between each coat. So dry times are going to vary. I say this all the time in my videos. It could take an hour, it could take 2 hours, depends on your temperature in your room and humidity. Humidity plays a part in curing as well. You just want to make sure that all of your Mod Podge, all of your layers are cured before you put epoxy on it. All right, so here I'm coming in just with a real quick second coat. I do it on hyper speed because you saw me do it the first time. So same technique, up and down, back and forth. All right, once this is dry, I'm going to go in and I'm going to measure the top of the V. So I want this to be about 2.5, something like that. It's up to you how big you want your V. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to center this over that seam. Now, what I did do, and I should have trimmed it. I should have trimmed it to be exact because there was like a little hump there. And I'll get into that in a minute. So I'm going to take my first piece of tape and just go to my one little mark and go down on an angle. I don't have like a degree for the angle. So again, it's going to depend on how wide you want your V to be as to how deep your V is going to be, if that makes any sense. It's so hard to explain sometimes. You just like, I just do these things and I'm like trying to explain it. So that's, why it's always good for you to see. So I've got them on there. I'm going to go ahead and cover the rest of the cup with saran wrap to protect it, and I'm going to come in with orange spray paint and I'm going to go and spray that V section. I'm going to put 2 coats on there, let it dry completely. Again, dry times vary. And I'm going to come in with my Mod Podge again. I'm not even taking anything off. I'm not taking my tape. I'm not taking my wrap, anything. I'm going to come in with Mod Podge, and I'm coming in with this color. It is, I think this one's Charmander. No, yes, this is Charmander by Glitter Makes It, of course. And I'm going to give it a good coat. Now, this glitter is super fine, this one. It's a really super fine glitter. And so, like, when I did it, I'm like, oh, the coverage isn't perfect. So I went in with a second coat of Mod Podge. And plus, I could see that seam. I could see the lift in the seam. And that kind of bothered me. Like, you can't really see it in the video, but I could see it. So I'm like, let me do 2 coats and see if that covers it. And so I put on my second coat. Well, guess what? I wasn't happy with that either. So I go in with Charmander's big sister, Charizard, for all you Pokemon fans. And I'm going in with my Mod Podge, and I'm going to put that on there. And the chunky should completely cover up that seam that is lifted. So learn from my mistakes. If you're going to do it this way, make sure that seam is completely flat. And I'm really glad I went with the chunky anyway, because I really love the color of this glitter. It is so pretty and so bright. It's a great summer glitter, but it's a great fall glitter as well. So I think it's versatile, and I'm all about versatility when it comes to your glitters, being able to use them for different seasons, if you will. All right, so I go out and I give this 2 coats of clear gloss spray paint. I take all of my stuff off, all of my tape and everything. I don't show you doing that because I don't need to. I don't think I need to. And I'm going to come in with StarCraft's clear coat, and I'm going to seal this glitter up once and for all so that it doesn't travel around the cup. But I did get a little bit around on the fabric, and I'm okay with that because it gave it this really beautiful shimmer, and I absolutely love it. So now I'm going to come, after that dries for 4 hours, make sure it's completely dry. I come in with my first coat of epoxy, and I am using a quickset. You don't have to use a quickset. You can use whatever you want. I mixed up 25 mLs. I think I only used about 20 mLs. I put it on the glitter first and then went around the rest of the cup. Not like it really mattered at this point because that glitter is not moving after I put on that clear coat by StarCraft. So we're going to let this turn for 4 hours, and then... oh, don't forget to torch for bubbles. I always torch for bubbles. And I do it as soon as I'm done my epoxy, and then I do it again later on, 5 minutes later. All right, so I tape the cup up, and now I'm going to spray paint the bottom after that's cured. and I'm just spray painting it black. So you can do whatever you want. You can glitter that bottom if you want to. All right, so here's where that's all drying, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna start working on my other project. So I decided that I was gonna take this Dollar Tree candle and I was gonna coat it with this fabric. Yeah, so I measured it up just by placing it on there. As you can see, I'm cutting it out and I'm going to apply the fabric the same way that I applied it on the cup. I'm just going to use Mod Podge and put it around, and that's going to be it for that, like super easy. And as you can see, I still have a lot of fabric left. So I have 2 more of these candles. So I am going to cut out 3 of these swatches in total. I'm going to call them swatches. I'm going to measure up. That one was a little bit shorter than I wanted, so I'm going to make the other 2 pieces just a little bit bigger. But so that's it. I'm gonna speed forward to where I am done with the third swatch, or maybe I'll just let you watch me cut the third swatch and see how much fabric I have after the third swatch. Okay, jump ahead. This is what I've got left. Enough to wrap a pen. Actually, I have enough to wrap 3 pens, but I'm only going to do 1. So this fabric has gone pretty far, guys. What do you think? I mean, like a cup, 3 candles, and a pen. And oh, I have one other jar that I'm going to coat with that fabric too. But I seem to be missing that footage, which is okay. You don't need to see me measure out the jar. So I finished measuring out this pen, and the next step is I'm going to start applying all this fabric around these candle holders. So I'm just going to show you one. You don't need to see all 3. This video is already long enough. So I'm just applying this the same way that I applied the fabric on the cup using Mod Podge, a section at a time, until it is completely wrapped around the cup and it's nice and taut. And look at this candle. This candle's been sitting on my windowsill by the sun, the windowsill, yeah, and it's gotten sun, so it's like turned it. So it turned it colors. It used to be completely white. So this is like the perfect project to cover that up. So if your candles discolor and it looks ugly, you just cover the glass up with some fabric. So that's really, that's really a versatile idea. These candles are really versatile. You can do so much with them. All right, so next is the pen. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on there. I'm going to smear it around the pen, and then I am going to wrap the fabric around it. So I prepped this pen. It is an Inkjoy gel pen. I did not record taking this apart and prepping it because I've done so many times in other pen videos. So if you don't know how to prep a pen, or you've never glittered a pen, you can jump back on my channel and Google pen tutorial. I say Google. You can do in the search bar in my channel, you can search pen tutorial, and I can show you you'll see all the different pen tutorials I've done, including the Inkjoy gel pen. And I prep them, I think, in every single video too. So that's it. I'm going to put the fabric on, let it dry an hour, and then I'm going to go ahead and put 2 coats on, letting it dry in between each coat. And again, making sure that it's completely dry before I put epoxy on it, because you want to make sure that it is dry. Otherwise, your epoxy could be cloudy and it could cause all kinds of problems. And real quick, I'm just showing you the jar I'm wrapping. It is an Alfredo sauce jar. All right, so the next thing I'm doing, I printed up a spider web. I measured it to the size of the V, and now I'm just using my light box to weed this out. I did do a video on the light box, and you can jump back on my channel and check that out. It was something I did very recently. And so this light box made it really easy because I printed this out on a black vinyl, a black like shimmer metallic foil vinyl. That's it, foil vinyl. So I could see it really easily. All right, so now that that's all weeded out, I'm going to put my transfer tape on and I'm going to apply it to my cup. So it's, applying a vinyl decal, there's nothing to really narrate about this. I'm sure that you've all done this, and if you haven't, you can just watch how I'm just fumbling over my words, trying to take up time as you watch what I'm doing. So I'm just trimming this up. making sure the one edge is at least really trimmed really close so that I can get it into that V. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I didn't. So I'm applying this, kind of doing the hinge method. I wanted to make sure once I got it placed that it stayed in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put this all the way down. You could do this with a clear water slide too if you didn't want to deal with the weeding. It would be probably quicker, maybe quicker. Well, it might not be quicker because you gotta wait for your water slide to dry. But I liked this metallic foil vinyl, so that's what I wanted to use. All right, so now I'm gonna come in and I have this glitter vinyl that I cut strips out. I cut these at 0.22 by I think like 9 inches. I always do them pretty long, no, 10 inches. I always do them pretty long and then just trim off the ends. And I was gonna do orange on top of that and then black again, but I decided, like, once I did this, I really liked the way it looked just by itself without like another orange stripe. And this glitter vinyl is really super pretty. I get it from Antioch Graphic Supply. So I will link them below as I link everything in the description box. And I am just trimming the top with my scissors. You can do a craft knife, just make sure it's nice and sharp. This vinyl is very thick, so I prefer to do it with scissors over the craft knife. And now I'm going to put my little 3D spiders on, and these guys are so cute. I got them from Amazon. I will link them below. And I am gluing them on using this, and I'm gonna find the name of it because I don't have it on me right now. I'm so sorry, guys, but this is a glue pen. It is a super glue, but you finish curing it with this little UV light. So it's like a little UV glue, not UV resin, but UV glue. And my husband picked this up at Lowe's. So it works really well for securing these spiders on before I go and epoxy them to the cup. But I really like these spiders. They're just like the perfect size for this. And I'm going to put about 5 on, but I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom of the cup with them. And the reason I'm not is because if you go all the way down, then it will not fit in your cup holder. And I want to make sure that it fits in the cup holder because I want this to be a travel cup and not just a home cup, if that makes any sense. So I am going to finish putting these spiders on, and then this cup is going to be ready for epoxy. All right, so there's no need to wait for this to dry because these spiders are glued on and UV cured. And so I'm just going to give this cup a quick wipe down with 91% alcohol because I've been handling it with my hands and I don't want any oils to compromise the epoxy on there. So I first wipe it down with a paper towel, and then I come in and I wipe it one more time with a coffee filter. And the reason why I use a coffee filter is because it leaves little to no lint, like paper towels leave lint. All right, so I mix up 20 mLs of epoxy, and I am applying the epoxy around the spiders using a soft bristle brush. And yes, you can clean this afterwards and it will be usable, and the way I clean it is with 91% alcohol. So I wanted to put a very light layer underneath the legs and then on top of the spiders. And I did it with this because I wanted to make sure that it didn't pool in and around the spiders or on top of the spiders, because I don't want to lose that more realistic 3D effect. I don't want there to just be a bubble of epoxy over top. And so it worked out really well. It was definitely the way to do it. I only had to do one more coat of epoxy on this cup at this point. So like I'm doing this and then I do one more coat around the rest of it and it was pretty much done. You can choose to do 2 coats if you want. I can feel the spider webs a little bit underneath because it is kind of a thin layer, but I'm okay with that because this is a 3D cup. So if you're feeling stuff like that, it's okay because the spiders are all raised up. So now that I've got that on there, and I think I've got a pretty good coverage, I'm going to go ahead and just spread epoxy on the rest of my cup. I'm going to give it a nice generous coat, nice generous even coat. And I'm just going to go over again the striping, the black glitter striping, a little bit thicker, but I'm not going to mess with anything in and around the spiders. I'm just going to stay clear of that right now. And I'm just going to let the turner do its job and let it all just meld together around the spiders, if you will, if that even makes any sense. So that is it. After I apply this epoxy, which is my regular set epoxy, and I'm going to torch for bubbles. I always torch as soon as I'm done with the epoxy. And then I wait about 5 minutes and I torch again. So now I'm just going to use what's left over on my glove and I am going to coat my pen with it. And this will take 2 coats of epoxy to finish out. So once I'm done with that too, I go ahead and torch that as well. So that is it, guys, for this tutorial. Like, I don't need to show you any more stuff. So I am going to come in next with my final remarks. All right, guys, all of this stuff is done. So who would have thought out of $1.25 fabric swatch from the Dollar Tree, you could get a cup. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love this. A cup. 3 of these candles wrapped. A jar. Just a regular little mason jar type thing, and a pen. And you know what? There is this much fabric left, which is not a lot. You could probably wrap like a couple of shot glass size votive holders or even a couple more pens. So really got a lot out of this fabric. So go to the Dollar Tree, pick out a favorite pattern, and go do all of these things, because other than the cup, these only cost a couple of dollars. And so this trim stuff, you can get like ribbon from the Dollar Tree too. So pennies on the dollar for these things that you could probably sell and get decent money for. So guys, that is it for this tutorial. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment. I love to hear your feedback. All those things help my channel to grow. Don't forget to check out my Facebook group. It's a craft thing, as well as my Instagram for things that I post that I don't do tutorials on. And don't forget, Glitter Makes It Superstars group. Post beautiful things that you make using Glitter Makes Its glitter. And every Sunday, if they like yours the best, you get a free 3-pack or a 3 bundle. It's a 3-pack of glitter. So thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye.